dig til meinen her. Just som dengang jeg traf den, fylder glæden mit sind.
Hello, my name's Adam Cook and welcome to another video from GodIsAGeek.com. This time we're looking at a preview build of a game called Gerda, A Flame in Winter, and I'm joined by the person who has previewed and played this game, Christopher White. Hi Chris, you alright?
I'm alright mate, yeah, you?
I'm good. I'm intrigued actually about this one because I've not played it myself, but I've seen screenshots and the video stuff that people are watching. So it's published by DONTNOD, and perhaps we can remind people who they are, but it's developed by Portaplay. So like when I first saw it, it was like, DONTNOD, because they're narrative adventures, they're well known for it. Let's just jump right in, mate. What's this all about? What's going on with it?
So it's set towards the tail end of the Second World War, in a small Danish town called Tinglev, and it follows this woman called Gerda, who it's not the kind of German occupation in Denmark hasn't really affected her on a scale that has affected other people. She's still able to kind of go about her job, day-to-day life. There's obviously restrictions for her with rationing and all that kind of thing, but it's not been as bad as others had faced. So until things go south a little bit.
Right.
And I won't go into spoiler territory, but something happens that involves a husband, and you can read a bit about it in the preview. And it kind of pulls her into the bigger picture of a resistance against the German occupation, and that kind of thing. But the core gameplay is all around choices. DONTNOD, their own games, obviously do this. They love a good decision. But the developers of this have done a great job where every conversation has many different outcomes, where choice really does factor into everything you do. And you kind of have three main stats, which are compassion, wit, and insight. And certain decisions can be affected depending on how much of that you've got in your stores. So you start off with 1 point for each. Once you've used it, so if you want to show compassion in a certain situation, you can, but then if a conversation pops up later in the day and you don't have any, you won't be able to use it. There are other like choices in dialogue you can use, which will affect the trust of the way certain characters trust you, basically. And again, the more trust you have, the better the responses later on are. So there's all that to kind of factor in. You also have dice rolls.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which you may not expect, but
no.
Certain conversations you can get a dice roll which will be affected, and you'll get a better outcome, an easier outcome as it's called, if you have certain mental energies, which are what the compassion, wit, and insight are, or if you've got particular items as well, and also your trust from certain people. So that's what they kind of affect. So there's a lot going on, and it's the World War. It's quite a hard subject to broach, but they've done it in a very respectful way. And it's very intriguing concept with what's going on in this particular story. Her father, because she's part Danish, part German, so you kind of have the options to not side with either kind of alliance, but you've got a reason to kind of understand certain aspects of the German occupation. Like, she doesn't believe in what in the Nazis, what Hitler was doing, which a lot of people didn't, but she can understand it on a more basic, grounded level, where she's with the soldiers, with the people who are actually doing his dirty work. And some are taking a lot of pride in that, some aren't, some are struggling. So you have that thing to kind of deal with. And also your father, who is German, has at the very start of the game, he starts to work for the Nazis, and you've got that side of it, and then your husband is Danish. So yeah, there's a lot of
complicated
choices to make. Yeah, it is, and
Like you
and
say,
that's where the
not
kind of
not like uplifting as such, not like some joyous like happy-go-lucky game. This sounds like it's
yeah, but it's
yeah,
also not like heavy going or anything like that.
okay,
Like they've managed to balance that line really well, and that's why kind of the choices do feel quite important, no matter how small they are, because the smallest decision can affect things later on in the game. Where I got to see, like, I played 2 hours of it, so I haven't seen the whole thing at all.
no,
But just from the little things I did, which I mentioned in the preview, a certain moment where I'm out trading to get some art supplies for my husband, who's a really good artist, basically, and you can trade some painkillers that you've got for the art supplies, or you can go and find other items to trade in. I chose to keep hold of the painkillers and find something else, and then later on, I was able to use those painkillers for my husband, who got beaten up by the Gestapo. So, if I hadn't have done that, I don't know what would have happened. So there's a lot of that kind of going on, but overall, like, it looks really nice. The
yeah.
music's like exceptional.
Is it voice acted or is it?
The dialogue, when you're making the choices, you reading that and you
Okay.
kind of going through there. At the end of every kind of scene or chapter or whatever you want to call them, Gerda kind of reads a recap of what's happened, and then at the end of that recap, you're given 3 options, which relate to compassion, wit, and insight, and whichever one you choose, that will fill up one of those, so that you then can use that later on. But you kind of are building this character, Gerda. You are making her however you want to see her, however you believe, your own beliefs, or you want to convey her beliefs in your choices, whatever. But it's not complex. It's quite smart how they've done it, and they have really used those choices, that kind of mechanic, in literally every single thing you do in it. So it's good, man. And there's like there's certain scenes where you move around, you can talk to different people, investigate all kinds of things. You might find items to use or certain mini quests that you have to fulfill. So there's kind of quite a bit to it. It's not just go talk to this person, then go and talk to this person, and so on.
Oh, and I believe at the time our preview and this video go live, the announcement is also hitting that the game is being released on Steam and Nintendo Switch on September the 1st, which is interesting because it's normally you wouldn't get a game that's like PC and Switch.
No.
But nonetheless, that's what it is. You can read Chris's more formal thoughts in a written preview on godisageek.com. You can support us via patreon.com/godisageek. You can subscribe to us, hit the bell button. All that stuff helps us. And just to comment in, we like to cover games that are huge, and we like to cover games like this, which you may not have heard of. In fact, before the opportunity came up, I hadn't heard of it. So, it's cool to talk about these games as well. Thank you very much, Chris, for being here.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see everybody else in the next video. Bye-bye for now.